I don't know. I'll figure out whether it's always necessary to have a motion before and after recess, but for now, we can just have a motion, please.
I move we come back out of recess.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Moore, seconded by Commissioner Grant. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are back in session, budget workshop. Sheriff, you have the floor.
I need just a couple of minutes, and I feel compelled to bring this to your attention. I've sat through almost all, if not all, of your sessions so far, and I know what a daunting task that you have before you. But I will tell you up front, the presentation that we proposed in the sheriff's office had to do with our number one main priority is our employees. And that is trying to put us in a position to be able to staff our facility, because a facility at the end of the day is a building. And you can build a Taj Mahal, and if you don't have workers inside, you've got to build it. And so and this is I'm not trying to take a shot at anybody. All employees or all office holders are passionate about the office they hold, the employees they have, and the facilities. But I think I would be remiss not to come back to the podium and take just a couple of minutes to remind you that across the street at the Justice Center is a 38-year-old facility. I've heard a lot of numerics, and I heard a lot of passionate talk about numerics. So I'm a numbers guy myself, and I can throw out some numbers that I think are necessary to, and then I'll say one last thing, and is currently we have 225 inmates in that facility. The state has set the daily rate at $87 a day. So if our facility was to go offline because of a plumbing issue or whatever the case may be, that would be a cost of $19,575 a day. The annual cost of that would be $71,468,325. And if you turn ground today on a new facility, it would take about 2 years to build that facility. So that would be $142,936,650. And that does not equate to any transports to or from whatever location you could find to place those inmates, if you could find a location to place those inmates. As far as traffic, foot traffic, whatever the case may be, we booked 247 inmates. That's booked into that facility last month. As I said, 225 inmates a day, families that are coming constantly for visitation, people coming to that office for services. Again, the facility. We are in a 38-year-old facility. For an example, our deputies, we have 28 deputies in one division. They are working out of a room that was built for 4 to 6 people. What's the size? What's the square footage?
330.
330 square foot.
That's half the size.
It's way less than this room.
Half the size.
Yes, it's way less. It's half the size of this room for 28 deputies to work out of. We have detectives. The hallway where the detectives are designed for detectives. We currently have 6. How do you have 6? Because we have 2 in broom closets. That works well until you bring somebody in and you need to visit with them, conduct an interrogation, whatever this may be. If we have issues, we have to repair issues on site immediately. So my suggestion, and that doesn't even speak to our dispatch center or anywhere else throughout the facility. I'm saying that, and I say this from the sheriff's standpoint, and I say it from a taxpayer standpoint. I don't doubt a bit in the world that there are facility needs throughout the county government. I don't doubt that. And I'm not trying to belittle that at all. But what I would say is, it would appear to me that the biggest need for the county is long-range planning, such as site, structures, and a plan, operational plan. And I can tell you that that man, and I'm not speaking for him, I'm speaking for me because of conversations and knowing who he is and what he is. That man right there, and that don't mean that everybody in the room don't understand it, but he understands it, is instead of looking to, because everything you do, there's a consequence. Like, no matter what you do, you're going to have some transportation issues, you're going to have some security issues, you're going to have whatever the case may be. All those things need to be factored into whatever decision is ultimately made. And so instead of piecemealing and picking one and doing this or doing the other, why not look for a big, maybe even a large parcel of property that you can put everything in? And because pretty much, I believe that's the way, although I wasn't here when this was designed, but most of the buildings and the central operations are right here within walking distance of this facility. That doesn't mean that you're going to be able to accommodate and stay right here at this facility as you expand or build on. But maybe the right thing to do is buy a parcel of property that's big enough to encompass everything. So I will speak to any and everything. If you have a question, I'll be glad to sit down. I just felt like I needed to, mention that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. No, I agree. I think your point is well taken. Long-range planning, I think, is the key in, what's appropriate to do now without a full plan in place. It's almost like we need a separate subcommittee to talk to each department about facility needs currently and facility needs towards the future. Maybe understand if, getting a large parcel of land for future development makes sense at this point. It needs to be addressed, and it's just figuring out the way to do that the right way the first time. So we're not just putting patches on, let's address it.
I think if you look at, Navarro County is growing quickly. We talked about yesterday, we're one county away from bringing an adjacent county to a metroplex, right? Before long, Waxahachie, just like it's happened everywhere else, Waxahachie and Ellis County is going to be, Fort Bend County out of Houston used to be small. Waller County used to be small. Now all the communities are growing into those respective counties. I say that to say all those counties used to have old courthouses. You used to go, I grew up, for a little bit of a time, a stone's throw away from Fort Bend County's courthouse. I could see it from Fort. Well, they built a justice center later on that services need. The courthouse is now a museum, or maybe that was Commissioners Court, the courthouse. So same way in Comal County, same way in the other counties. So as we hear everybody over the last 3 days come out and say, I'm getting more work, I'm getting more work, I'm getting more work. And like you say, Judge, it's setting that plan in place, because it ain't going to happen today. We can't just, snap our fingers and have everybody done. But if we don't start now, a year from now, we're going to be talking about it, and we're just kicking that time frame down. That time frame is the same time frame, but we put something in place today, or we wait 365 days to at least get a subcommittee in place to do it. But everywhere I've ever seen, this courthouse becomes a museum in those adjacent counties to metroplexes.
Well, and when they restored this thing, we lost the floor,
Yes, sir.
and that puts us behind the 8 ball right off the bat. We lost the whole floor.
Yes, sir. So,
I agree with
Yeah, there used to be a
everything.
third floor, and that's where adult probation was all there. So we lost that.
I agree with everything that the sheriff said and what you were saying about long range planning, but I want to remind us, 2 years ago, we did just that. We spent $60,000, had a firm come in here. and-
we spend more than 60,000.
Yeah, okay, it may have been more.
Yeah.
But they went through all the departments, came back with a plan, and we really didn't like that plan, I don't guess. We didn't go forward with
Well,
it.
maybe we're talking about two separate things. When I came in here last year, there was a study in place to talk about a new justice center.
Right,
Y'all had Yeah.
They came in prior to that, they went to every department
Okay. Yeah,
and
that was
talked
pretty
to
neat.
them to see what, and maybe this is their idea of what our needs were, and we didn't like that idea or whatever, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were starting down that road.
Oh, well, that's,
Yeah, last year we're in the
That
middle.
Butler Cohen, they didn't come meet with y'all?
They came to look at our facility.
Like I say, that's putting the cart before the horse. They try to build something before having.
Maybe, and I thought they were just,
That's
Okay.
why we come up with-
Well, at that point, nobody had asked for a new jail.
Yeah, right. Well, I think there was this notion, Judge, just to get you up to speed.
Yeah.
When I showed up last year, Butler Cohen was walking around here. They're sending me bills. They're an engineering firm out of Houston, architectural engineering firm. They would end up wanting to be the GC of the project. It started out with potentially an adjacent, 3-story, 2-story building where we move stuff, and then it grew into this massive justice center project. I walked into like 400,000. Oh, we've been approved for 400,000. And they just started sending me progress bills. And I was like, well, what the hell are we getting? Right. I mean, I know construction accounting well enough to question a lot. So they didn't like my questions. And then they started throwing some stuff against the wall. And I'm like, this is elementary drawings. I'm like, you can't tell me you walked through that jail over there and you're decided to take, our office and move it into the jail, or the treasury's office. That jail isn't suitable for our offices. And so they started going, well, these were just, well, we didn't really meet with all the departments going back to year.
that's what, I thought they were, and I thought it was a
They-
long-range planning.
Right. They said it, and then I busted them on it. And they said, well, we didn't really meet with all the
Oh,
departments.
okay.
We did this. And these are just elementary drawings. And I was like, well, if we're going to pay elementary, I got a 3rd grader. I'll give him $400,000 to do this. And so I stopped it. I mean, I just said no more and cut the bleeding off. But by the time I got here, it was about $150,000 that we'd never see again. So I cut the bleeding and said, no more, cease and desist. We're not, don't send me anything else. Because they weren't talking to them. They weren't talking to those key stakeholders
Okay.
in the business. And we weren't in a position, remember that was this time last year, they were trying to get y'all to do the
Yeah,
bond and they were going to raise
Yeah.
200
they
million.
were,
By the
ready.
way, don't tell
push it.
anybody, but we could do some town halls, but we don't have to do some town halls. And then we were down the road, Judge, on $200 million debt raise. They had it all kind of pre-populated, and you can do some town hall meetings. Remember we were talking about
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
And I came in here and, Judge, I've done some debt raises before in the private sector, not in the public sector, same sense of timeline. And I said, and I explained to these gentlemen, like, this is not easy, number one. And number two, you're doing it in essence behind everybody's back.
Yeah,
And
we
so
didn't work it out.
so they all kind of, when I explained it to them, they all said, no, we're squashing this project, right? And so, but that train was like moving down the tracks, and they were trying to do it before Thanksgiving last year. They wanted y'all to do this vote. Of course, they like it because they get 4 or 5% of the debt raise, right? And our county, since it doesn't have any debt, is prime for investment to come in and do it. So there was a lot of stuff going on. We squashed it because nobody was really in control of that, the project out, other than the outside people that were going to make a lot of money off of us.
Mhm.
And so with everybody's support, we all determined cease and desist. And
Well, they were pushing, what do you call it, where it's not a bond, it's a
it's, I forget the acronym. It's
what's the
like-
name of
certificate of
that?
obligation.
Certificate of obligation.
Decision.
That way we wouldn't have to let anybody know we was doing it. I was going,
But
we know.
I was not for that.
but we already know, and we're citizens here, and I don't like surprises.
So you have a certificate of obligation, you have a general bond. Certificate of obligation, you can go up to a certain amount and not tell the public to do it.
Yeah.
I can get you some information on it.
That's what they were
But
pushing.
I thought,
100%.
but my whole idea with that was, this is gonna be some long-range planning,
100%.
see what we need, but it really wasn't.
Because nobody was driving the ship from from the county's perspective. When you do these big projects, even if ExxonMobil goes and builds buildings, ExxonMobil has a project manager
Yes.
to determine where to manage all the outside consultants and tell them what they're supposed to do. Even they're managing the GC, even if you hire an outside general contractor, somebody from the county needs to have the county's interest in heart. And
Right.
unfortunately, you guys are busy and you don't have the time.
So in essence, we probably hired the wrong company to try to do long-range planning.
Well,
They were doing planning focused towards them.
I don't think that's what they do. I think they're in the construction business.
That's, yeah,
And there
so
were
that's
other
where we,
companies that weren't given a fair shot. I'll
Do what now?
There were other companies that weren't given a fair shot. These guys were kind of catered to, in my opinion.
So I don't know why I wasn't there. I wouldn't, it was, the contract was already signed before I showed up. I've seen these guys before in my previous life, I know who they are.
Right.
They tried to, they took me to lunch and I was just like, guys, it's not doing it. I mean, I'm not, but they kept calling me to try to get it rekindled up. And I just knew we weren't in a position yet, given that we had some potential changeover with your election coming in. And so we just kind of ceased and desist.
yeah,
I do believe that we need to pick it back up again, the right way, the right structure, the county first interest, the department head first interest. That position needs to be funded, that it needs to go. We need to go negotiate with the city. We need to go negotiate with parcels of land that we think's available or not available. But we got to do that with a plan in mind with the department heads. We can't just, the whole idea, Judge, was
Right.
we were going to take this jail and we're going to put it on top of the state school. Okay.
Mhm.
That's what their drawings were. It was perfectly like, oh, it was perfectly fit. But I kept asking him, well, have you talked to the city? Like, no. But they're, they only got it for a penny, $1, or $100 or whatever. So they're going to give it to us. Well, I said, well, it's about time for us to go talk to the city because you've done this entire drawing
It
With
hurts
this
your
blue-
negotiation, if that's what.
with
you've
this
already planned.
blueprint only for that piece of parcel of land.
Right.
And of course, you went with me, or maybe you. And of course, the city is like, I'll say the vernacular, what they said, but they're like, pretty much go pound sand. You're not having that piece of land. So now we got this drawing, looks cool. It's got this beds and it's got this commissary area, this and this plumbing, but it's for a piece of land we're never gonna get. And so that's when I was like, well, what the hell is this?
And it didn't include input from the stakeholders,
No,
meaning
sir.
the sheriff's department.
no,
And
No.
if
Well,
you're
then
doing-
nobody had even asked for a jail.
Right.
And they were talking about going and building a jail and no one had asked for
Right.
one.
Exactly.
So
So,
speaking to that, not to cut the
Yes, sir.
auditor off, but this sticks in my craw and I gotta say it, is every time I pass that TYC facility, it sticks in my craw that it was offered to the sheriff's office in entirety, 85 acres of land, every building, $1 million security fence for $1.
As in
And the
twenty
Commissioners
fifteen.
Court would not allow it to be transferred to the sheriff's office.
wow,
Now, that doesn't mean y'all, the ones that are sitting here now, have a say in that.
right,
No,
I'm telling you for a fact, because I'm the sheriff. I was in contact with Byron Cook. We had facilitated the entire, that this could happen and would happen and should happen, and it got stonewalled. So every
And I've
time
heard-
I drive by there and I see or hear talk of millions of dollars of property there and all that, I think, wow, what a travesty of justice to Navarro County.
now, I've heard several, reasons why they didn't, why didn't the county
The
commission?
excuse given at the time
oh, it's
was
so much
first.
mowing.
Was first and groundskeeping. We got to keep up with the grass. I said, we have inmates, trustees, we have tractors and lawnmowers. Then the second, they have buildings out there that were in deplorable condition that could not be renovated. It would have to be destroyed. I said, the county has bulldozers and dump trucks and they don't have to all be done at once. Once that concluded and that was no longer viable, it was, well, we'd have to have an asbestos abatement. We're scared of asbestos. There might be asbestos in buildings. The state came back, Byron Cook, saying, well, we'll just put it in the deal where the state will do the asbestos
Yeah,
abatement.
yeah.
And guess what? That got shot down. So I don't know if it was because it was attached to me or my request, or I was part of it, or whatever the case may be, but it was a travesty of justice to the citizens of this county. That's what I have to say.
Yeah. I
And
also
I'll
heard,
forget
I
it
also
again,
heard
and I'll never
was,
forget it.
and I also heard that, yeah, once we get it, the state can still force us to put, immigrant children in
Yes.
there, illegal
Yes.
alien children.
And
That's all I've ever
finish
heard.
by saying there was no asbestos because the city owns it now and possesses it and is selling it as prime real estate.
100%. Right, that's why they didn't
I
get it to us.
begged the judge back before I was just a business owner. I begged him. I said, look, I love free. And this is free. Well, like when everything that the sheriff just went over is what he told me. I was going, look, it ain't that hard
Yeah.
for this real estate that you're,
Inherited.
What's 85 acres of prime real estate?
75 grand.
well, it's 75,000 acres.
75,000 acres, you can do that, man.
So-
Aggie math.
I agree. Back one time. I agree.
That's past history.
Yeah.
But I wanted to address that since we were talking and there's been some conversation there.
But I think
I won't forget it.
but I think, I agree wholeheartedly. I think we need to start looking at some firm, whatever, to come in, get with the department heads and try to come up with a plan.
Right.
A long range plan of what our needs are.
Right, and we can address that
Yeah.
maybe next Wednesday, Thursday, when we
Okay.
finish finalizing the budget. Not to steer this
Sure.
deal, I'm just trying to get through some of the departments. Josh, do you have something, did you need to come? Oh, well, you said you needed to say something. Maybe
I
I just said,
thought you said you.
you said that.
I thought you said yesterday you had something else that you wanted to speak on today.
No, I said I'd like to know, if there's a possibility of me getting another employee, because there's some things I could do with this budget as far as like desks, stuff like that. That's nothing that's important as this.
That's what it was, I guess.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that.
We're gonna go with-
satisfied
yeah, you'll have all that
things were cut,
information.
Things weren't mentioned. And it's like, I'll tell you before I know it.
So we're going to communicate. You want to roll through yours? So what I was thinking, we just go through county clerks, then we go through county judge,
Okay,
then we go through you guys or me. Those are really the last ones. We have indigent defense coordinator. We don't have that position. Nobody's in that position. I just rolled that budget forward. Just want to show it to you.
okay.
But really it's everybody in this room is now budget that we have to go through.
Got
And then you can finish with salary, and Brad has got a presentation on where the revenue rate's coming out.
Okay.
Okay. Other than that, that's okay. So we'll do, county clerk. This one's a pretty straightforward budget. I don't know.
We're kind of doing this in points. It's actually gonna be more her budget than my budget this year. We didn't really ask for much. I put about $20,000 extra in supplies just because stamps and letterhead and envelopes and decals on the door and all that. I have no idea how much that was gonna be. So that was my main expense in there. And then to give a raise for whatever anybody else wants or gets. And then I wanted to have a second, I'm not asking for another chief deputy upstairs in my criminal. I just like, a senior clerk up there.
Okay.
Same thing.
That's,
Yeah, she would make the same thing as our other senior clerk.
which is Christine Blackaby's position.
I think you're gonna see it on here, Judge, it's on the slide. Payroll slide. You're seeing one that has a 10% raise, that's just getting them back up to the same as the other senior deputy clerk. So the third one down and the third one from the bottom. In essence, one of them's, I'll call it getting that promotion. That's, everybody else is kind of that standard 5% that we've seen quite often across the board on personnel.
Right.
Some computer maintenance stuff that may be all
That's,
there.
it's basically it's just our contracts we already have.
Okay,
Just making sure they're in there.
Tyler Eagle, Tyler Technology, and then I have one from my commissioner's court.
Okay.
Also,
that go up so much.
Next line, let's start with. I don't know where it's at, but because there wasn't anything, I don't think, on maintenance contracts, so
Right.
I'm trying to make sure it's in there and.
I'll make sure, we'll make sure. Can we just take note of that, Matt, wherever those,
looking at it.
please?
Well, some of it, I was looking at Josh's yesterday, that was kind of, that. I think on the jury, did that, what else is that split for? Who splits that?
Well,
Like the
at one
jury.
time, the jury everything kind of started off in my budget originally. That with the Odyssey software and the jury software. And then, you're actually splitting, which shifts from month to month, but however many jury summons were
Yes, I
pulled.
did split that, but I'm talking about your yearly maintenance. Like you have a 7,000 that was never allocated to anything this year. So I feel like that should be taken from somewhere. And then you have the jury stats, that's like 9,000 something. And that's not split between anybody.
It should, in my opinion, it should have been. I don't know that it is or not, because since I'm the jury administrator, it should be all in one budget. Would be
Okay.
easier to do, but
And
y'all
that's perfect too. I mean,
usually like to split it. Just
okay.
like the Odyssey software, I'm the one on the contract, but y'all split it between the
Yes.
judges and,
Okay.
There's
I'll look more
the-
into that before Monday to make sure that it's all in the right places so that we budget it more correctly this year.
the only ones that have separate contracts would be Sherry's office, my office, and the DA's office. With that being said, y'all split all the judges with my office.
Okay, so that then
His
is,
office would be split with her.
okay, so you.
County
pay
judges with county
With you,
clerk,
okay.
just for, and county court of law would be with you.
more, that makes more sense.
Yeah, it looks like a lot's going through 459, but I don't know. I mean, we still got budget even in here for the
But
year.
you have the actual software cost that
Right.
should be
Somewhere else, yeah. I'm with you.
done, but then you have the maintenance, which is the cloud storage for your server.
Right, so we'll dive into that. I think, I mean, like I said, she added $10,000 for new office supplies relative over the budget. Seems to be a one-time ask.
And of course, we may not use it all.
Right.
Just don't know what it's gonna cost to change stuff over.
Yes, ma'am. Anything, nothing else jumps off to that page.
No, I
And we'll
mean, I have to
figure
do
out
a bond, and then maybe I think the travel might have went up just a little bit, but then,
Travel went up $2,000.
Yeah.
They were already over a little bit $2,000 this year. Professional services went down 1,000, so nothing too crazy in here. We'll figure out this computer maintenance contract, Judge.
Okay.
To make sure we're in line with where that's supposed to be and the request and all that, so.
And also Sherry has two other softwares that I don't figure out. She has the land records and commissioner's court. I'm strictly just case management.
Okay.
She also has that one too.
All right, yeah, something's off, so we'll reconcile it back.
And you never know when they're gonna send the bill. I get it having all of them.
Is it a monthly bill or is it an annual bill, Josh? Monthly.
One of them's quarterly, one of them's monthly, and then the jury one's monthly. I think I get the paper vision or queso, whatever, for the sheriff's department and my office, and I kind of try to stick it where it needs to go.
Yeah.
So they can see it. But yeah, even the same company, some of them are quarterly, some of them are monthly.
I know I have a letter from Tyler Eagle and it's 56,278,000. That's just for my birth certificate, marriage license, death certificate, that side. Whereas the case management for audit that had our technology, that is for our criminal.
people.
Probate, yeah.
You
So
know,
I do have two separate, totally separate, and then I have my commissioner's court package is like $1,200 a year for maintenance on that. And that's,
all right, yeah, we're off on something, but we'll
Yeah,
get
it
back
just may
to
be
it.
in the wrong spot.
Yes, ma'am. Any questions from you? gentlemen? One line I'll fix, that one line is just structurally off, so
Okay.
don't worry.
one question I'd like to clear, like on the maintenance for our computers and stuff. I know y'all said we were gonna put it in IT department, but then we never know what we need to allow for our IT or what's gonna come out of IT. We need some direction in that. Because we don't know, maybe we have backup batteries. Well, we don't know if we're supposed to be paying for that or IT's supposed to be in that.
If
If I
it's
have one
double
that
listed.
goes out, what,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I need some direction. And if I can't really tell Sandy that because I don't know.
I don't know. It seems to me that it should all be housed under IT.
I like that in IT, I mean, she's in control of it, but
I think that would help avoid the questions, but I don't know for sure because I haven't had to work within that system,
Well, one of them will tell us we need stuff, and one of them might give us a little bit of it, and then the other one's like, hey, y'all need to buy everybody in your office one of these to hook up to the computer or whatever. Well, should we be buying that if it's
Yeah.
computer related?
Whereas maybe it could work. I mean, I guess it'd be IT having to do little sub budgets for each department and say, well, you've got this available. We can provide that for you. I don't know if that's workable or not, but
Yeah, I mean, I think the IT can, obviously, they can do a sub-consolidation of their, budget, which would be what you're articulating there. I just think,
I don't know if that's the best path.
yeah, I mean, I think it was something we need to discuss you guys need to discuss and give us some mandate on it. We talked about it earlier a little bit. Cell phones,
Right.
I mean, we've got an incredible county plan for cell phones, we talked about it yesterday with Tiffany. If one gets lost, you can shut it down. It's at some point in time where we've got to figure out whether cell phones are in essence county business, and therefore if you have a cell phone, you're doing it. And but because we've got a wide range of cell phone plans currently in the county budget right now.
As far as the, software, is that what you were asking about?
And the maintenance does it.
I think when they say that, it's like the Adobe and that kind of software. Now for your office software, that comes from your department.
Specialized to your department then, is that what you're saying?
But they were asking about hardware. They were asking.
Oh,
about
yeah,
hardware.
now the hardware, did she send you a question there if you needed stuff like that?
Yeah.
Now she has itemized that in her budget.
She printed all that in the budget.
But
yesterday.
you probably, like if your wireless keyboard or mouse or something like that goes out, you probably need a budget a little bit in there for that.
That'd be awful.
Unless she just has one setting aside. But yeah,
And they usually do, but isn't it something in our policy where we have to go through IT and get?
Yes.
You
you have that kind of
We
thing.
do that anyway.
Yeah.
so we have to-
But, just in case.
All right, any questions on county clerk? Good.
All right, good. We can move on.
You enjoyed.
Thank you.
I knew you
Thanks,
could
sir.
stay out of here.
Oh,
Yeah.
actually, inside your head, you're going, I don't care.
Oh, no, I would never say
Just, we like,
Oh, no, you wouldn't say it out loud.
Say that loud.
She said
we
it
like your
twice this morning.
presentation a whole lot better.
I heard her say it twice this morning when she came in.
See y'all later.
Just so y'all know, I gotta roll out of here about 4:30 because I gotta do something at 5.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
I got to roll out about.
Y'all want to do Judge or Road and Bridge next?
Just in the interest of making sure that y'all are here for all the, I mean,
Yeah, let's do it.
road and bridge.
Knock these two out anyway.
I don't know how long y'all anticipate taking.
You want to do
Depends on
Road
how
and
long
Bridge
you
next
want to
week?
talk.
I'm happy to talk. Y'all
I
tell me
mean,
what you
on
prefer.
county judge.
Yeah, I can, I mean,
Pretty straightforward.
it's pretty straightforward, but I haven't had any time to do any, so just know that
You've had 6 days, man.
I've been in here processing.
Hey, you said you were gonna be ready day 1. It's day 6.
Day one's supposed to be January 1.
It's day 6, bro.
I
Did you
quick
put that
found
in the
this.
campaign or? did you
Yeah,
just say day
Yeah.
one?
Slogan, day 1.
No, I'm saying, did
I
you put
promise.
January 1st day one or did you
No, he
just
didn't
say
say
day
that
one?
about January.
He
1st.
said-
He said
No,
day
the main slogan is Navarro first. All right, so I'm putting the county first and not my budget first.
So on this slide, Judge, and in all fairness to Judge, I kind of helped him prep this slide.
Sure.
He can change anything he wants, but I just had to get something in writing.
Sure.
Standard kind of across the board, I've seen this 5% increase, even some elected officials are more or less, whatever, but on the court coordinator position, I know we're going to talk about that today.
Yeah.
Typically, the court coordinators in those 3 offices have made relatively the same amount of money from the county. Okay, we heard yesterday about a position that received additional grant money from the state that has
Right.
not gone away. But I just put in here on your budget just for a placeholder
Okay,
that the fact that those positions have historically been the same amount of money from the county's perspective.
yeah, I think that makes sense.
Right, I'm not saying that's what we're gonna
Right,
etch it in stone, but in order for us to do the salary thing that you guys had asked me to prepare last night, I did that for consistency purposes. That's why it looks crazy up there. There's
I got a question and I wanted you to be.
a $19,000 raise or whatever.
right.
The other one, Judge, I think it would be some clarity. Would help me is the question I brought up this morning with juvenile board. I have seen discrepancies across different, I don't know, I don't know
Yeah.
how that's gonna work. I think you need to ask maybe the other board members, because I don't want to ask. But
Yeah, I can ask that question as to why is it
I don't know.
different?
It looked different to me when I was doing my research, but obviously that changes compensation for you, total compensation package for you. That has downstream effects on different things, but, other than that, obviously you only have one employee, sir. It's not like you got a lot. And
Right.
I kept most of everything else. You did get a county cell phone, my understanding.
Yes,
So I took the cell phone allowance away.
Yep. that works.
I left everything else, sir, relatively flat in your budget. Judge Davenport did not use a lot of, we did do a budget line adjustment. You guys approved it, for the visiting judge, but if you look overall, there are quite a bit of line items that he just, didn't use very much. So, some of the other ones that were doing extra witnessing, things of that nature, he didn't use at all. So,
Okay.
well, and then the court reporter, I left, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's all right.
There was a slot for a court reporter in a budget. I left it 0, a full-time court reporter, because we're down 1 upstairs. It almost sounds like we're down 2 upstairs.
Right.
And I didn't stick that number in here because you have a court reporter on a part-time basis.
Yeah,
I just rolled-
contract
I just
basis.
rolled that number forward.
Well, my concern there is I'm gonna have more trials than we've had in the past.
Understood. Yes, sir.
And incorporated in that is gonna be, I anticipate more contested hearings, contested probates, which I understand were exclusively heard by county court of law.
Yes, sir.
So that's what I aim to do, is take some of that caseload back down to help even out the caseload between all the courts.
Yes, sir.
So the reason the contested part matters most because we do need a record on,
Yes.
should it get appealed or something like that. I don't know exactly what that's gonna look like as far as how much that number is gonna go up. I wouldn't anticipate that it would go up enough to justify a full-time position at this point.
Right.
Yeah,
And I don't know the rules. I don't know if you hired 3 full-time court reporters, can they work amongst the courts, or do they always have to work specifically for a judge in court?
Are you talking about the edge of the fence?
no,
And I-
just the court reporters.
Court reporter.
That's gonna take meetings with the other judges
Sure.
to see
Yeah.
what they're comfortable with. I mean, that's something, if it's plausible, I'd like to work towards, because, like we all do in all of our departments, if we can have some people to fill in or, make it make sense to where it's more efficient. The thing is, those court reporters do more than just do a transcript, as Judge Ogden said, or Judge Putman was saying.
Right.
They take in evidence in their an administrative function. So I do think for practical purposes, it's hard to go from office to office when.
Yeah, I just didn't know we had talked about 2 serving 3 courts. I don't know
Right.
if you had 3 serving 3 courts, if that bench was able to come in and out that way.
Oh, I see.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay.
That way we'd get away from part-time court reporting in each of the courts, which would allow, Judge Lago's court reporter to go do transcripts and be backfilled by, a bench of county employees that are court reporters.
Right.
I, again, don't know if that's feasibly possible. I would think some courts in the, federal government or state or local
Yeah.
government probably have a bench of court reporters that come in and out, but I don't know the answer.
Maybe.
So it's just something that we could increase salary for a full-time person, but we're also reduce salary on what we pay part-time or consultant. We actually end up maybe even in a better position.
Right.
So.
Yeah, in a similar vein, there are some alterations to the county courtroom I would like consideration for. I assume you've all been in there, that back wall behind the bench, behind it is kind of a little meeting area. So that wall is it's a hollow temporary wall. And so I would like to remove that to push the bench back in order to bring in more pews, for the purposes of so we can do jury selection in that courtroom. Currently, my understanding is we have to do jury selection in Judge Putnam's courtroom. And so you've got a timing issue there, whether that courtroom's available. And so if we can turn my courtroom into self-sufficient, we don't have to really worry about the other court schedule, other than obviously you don't want 3 panels of juries coming in on the same day for parking purposes on the outside. But to make that court self-sufficient, I think would be a big improvement to help me operate and have more trials and be efficient with my caseload.
You have to clear it with the
Historical.
historical.
And I don't know how that process starts.
Does Travis lead that?
I've got it, he's probably been through it before.
Yeah.
Ask him.
And so I know there's no, I don't know if that line item should go in my budget or if that goes in.
Probably cool. It would go courthouse renovation. I mean, he presented it yesterday,
Okay.
but I'll get.
I mean, I don't even know what the number would be.
Right, let me, can we just note and give it to Travis before I leave today and have him work on functionality of that? Is that a wall that we have to talk to the
I
historical
wouldn't think
commission?
so, but
But
he'll-
because
he'll
I know
know.
when Jane was talking about absorbing some of our office because of her new folks,
Mhm.
we didn't have to talk to anybody because the wall, we weren't touching a structural wall that was there in
and that may be the case.
1942.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Basement has no restriction.
yeah, but we'll get Travis to look at that.
Okay.
He's usually very quick on giving us a estimate. We can throw that into that, because again, I think the notion of keeping 3 independent courtrooms self-sufficient, getting through trials, it sounded like Carrie was very adamant about that. I know
Right.
The sheriff would like some more easily structured with the trials, and, that's probably a topic we'll talk once budget season's over, but how do we get inmates in and out of here fluidly?
It
Would be, I mean, we don't even have a holding place anywhere in this place, and so it's kind of interesting based on where we are with these.
The other issue, and I don't mean to be too dramatic, but in my mind, there is a security issue in having a meeting room behind the bench that's right next to the judge's chambers. So moving that wall back gets rid of that, having people walk back there in that area. It just makes me uncomfortable. Not that I wouldn't be able to work with it if we decide not to do that. I don't want to say I'm scared, but security is one purpose there.
Right.
Can I ask you a question real quick while Josh and Sherry's here?
Yes,
So
sir.
they don't have to sit here and wait. For years, it's bothered me. And I don't know if it's been corrected or not, but there's been, as long as I can remember, as long as I've been here, there've been people walking out of the county courtroom, not paying their fines and fees. I don't know many dollars it would have been over the last 20 years, but it would add it up. And the excuse was always, there's no way to pay.
No, we
No,
changed
that's
that.
not true.
They
Okay.
said that they.
Tell me where we're at now.
It's gotten worse for sure, but the judges are supposed to have initial hearing to determine indigency or the lack of inability to pay.
Right.
In the past, the clerks could contest it. And my thing is, if you're hiring an attorney, then you can afford $350 for a lawsuit. Now, judges may not always see it that way, or they may not have the hearing to determine indigency, but it has to be taken up at an initial case, or we have to file as a movement to then sit on the stand and tell the judge why we think they can afford it. And then it gets to, well, how do you know what their finances are? Well, they filled out a piece of paper. And it is not the indigent defense coordinator that handles that, it's us. And you just have to have the judges to have that initial hearing and go over finances with them. Well, we see you have a brand new F-250 out there. Do you think that would be a hindrance on you paying $350? Or your nails are done, your hair's done, you got new clothes? It is a little invasive, but that's part of it. You have to, I think it's more that they don't like to get into people's personal assets and finances and business, but that's part of it. I mean, we do it, and it just doesn't go well received, especially if they hire an attorney, because now their attorney they hired are trying to cut our head off for even asking them to pay $350.
And then,
Well,
And
first of all,
then-
if they have any kind of, if they get any kind of assistance, they get food stamps, I mean, right away, you can't charge them anything. They get it all through.
That's
But
easy.
if they're not, we can make them pay. I wanted 2 years ago, at least say they had to bring half of it when they come to court that day, at least we get half. But that was always shut down. If you put on there that they are to pay some money, then they are supposed to pay, and we'll set them up a payment plan, we'll take a credit card, we'll do however we have to in order to get that money.
If we used to hear that from the DA's office that, we'll put it in the judgment, but they never do. I mean, and that's on felony cases. I'm talking civil and family cases. Those are elective, litigation. You choose to get divorced. You, for the most part, choose to file a civil suit against someone. But, you have to be in line and step with the judges on what they're willing to do as well. And I know we've talked about it ad nauseum with them. And again, that's a very small part of what the entire case is about. But in order for us to operate, I hit on it a little bit yesterday. Sherry gets money for every document she does for public records, but on misdemeanors, maybe people will pay them so they don't have to go to jail. Mine are going to prison. They don't get a dang. They are not going to get out 20 years, 10 years. They're not paying nothing. And on the civil side of it, if no one requires, we have to take it and set it up. 350 is what you owe. You paid zero. You get all the way through the case. If the judge signs an order or a divorce decree, that case is over. You're never going to get money back from them. Even if you have Linebarger try to do collections, no one's going to pay because they already got what they want. So it's going to require the judges, and again, it's hard to, I don't know how to say it without sounding ugly. You can't make a judge do anything they don't want to do. And if there's other things that are more important at the time, I think it's just going to require they have to have that initial period to say, hey, I noticed you don't receive any TANF, any food stamps, any WIC, any SSI or assistance. I'm going to need you to pay this $350, and then we'll reset this case once you pay it. Now, if that requires a payment plan, our software is very robust. It'll allow you to do any of that.
I just wanted you to be aware of that.
Yeah.
It's been, since I've been here, and I've asked him, and used to when I'd ask, he would say, well, we had no way of taking it. Now, we figured out a way of taking it, but they still didn't do
We've
it.
been doing that for several.
9 years ago, I asked that question, what is our accounts receivable?
We've
In
had the same-
business, it's called accounts receivable when people owe you money.
Right.
Being
And
in the courtroom,
HM
when I was, sorry, go ahead.
HM said, well, there's people that's tried to pay me when, and I'd tell them, don't worry about it. You know, and I was going, Judge, stop. I said, when people tell me not to worry about it, I'll worry about it. But if they're trying to give you money, you take it and put it in the little clipboard in the file and give it to Sherry. She knows what to do with it.
Well,
My
it's
goodness, don't turn it down though.
It's not just the judge too, because the DA will say,
Right.
we're gonna waive fines and court costs.
right.
And we're just like, seriously?
That's ridiculous.
Why are you waiving the court costs
Yeah.
anyway?
That's ridiculous.
And they'll skip the court costs.
I
Pay
mean,
for our files and our.
They're waiving state fines that you can't waive. I mean,
Exactly. And
the-
those are-
Let's say, do they know what they can and can't do?
yeah, and they do it anyway. There's a $3,000 state fine for a DWI. It can't be waived. They're waiving it.
That's a road and bridge fund.
I
Now,
mean,
that's where your road and bridge fund goes from, fines. The actual court costs, there's work we've already done.
Right.
That's the creating the case.
I mean,
I mean, if they
estimates
come
and
in there
sending
and
out
we're in that
orders.
courtroom and he does tell them they owe this, you know, some of them will say, do I need to pay it today?
Yes.
Will you pay
Yeah.
it today or whatever? And we're like, hey, go right over there. I'll tell them you're coming over. We'll charge them up. They can go right across the hall to our office and make their payment.
So when people complain about our roads, we can put it back on.
Send them to the DA.
Well, bottom line, if they're not indigent, they need to pay their court costs.
It takes a determination.
I mean, and a dismissal, that's the only reason they don't have to pay a court cost. So
Well, Terry
everybody
told me
that comes in there should be paying.
9 years ago, it was an obscene amount of money.
Yeah,
It was more than our annual budget was at
And
the
what's
time,
that
is
for
what we were
misdemeanor?
owed
Yeah,
in
and-
fines and court costs
And you know, we're set up with Linebarger
that
too
were not collectible.
for collections and it's not collected.
They don't collect anything.
We sent in a monthly report, and we set
Other
all that
taxes.
up, went through all that, so we could set that up and they can
Yep.
start looking for the people.
That, and if
That's right.
there's any jail time, we don't get any of that money back for days in jail either.
When,
I mean,
when the magistrate,
like that.
magistrates them and they do not claim they're indigent at that time. They have the ability to then come and claim to be indigent later. And so.
Well, usually before they leave the jail, they send them that, if they find out that they can get a court appointed attorney.
Right.
We're required to provide the form for
Right, I understand, but that's during magistration.
No, and when they come to court,
Yeah, if they have a docket and they come to docket.
Right.
And then the judge asks and they said, well, I can't afford it. Well, at that time, then they'll also. be-
I mentioned it a little yesterday, but the whole idea was that the JCI, not JCI, the Supreme Court is to take away any hindrance in filing into open court. It's supposed to be easy, and if you can't afford it, we're gonna let you do it anyway. But fact remains, that's why I don't have any records management money. That's why we don't have no money in courthouse security or your court reporter fund. All those come out of our $350 filing fee. Records management, everything.
That needs to be corrected.
I think a letter by you guys needs to
That's
state
ridiculous.
what you need to state. And that'd be towards the, posted on the door when you walk in. This is.
well, the letter that's mailed out to them to tell them that they have to come to docket states on that letter, you need to contact the court and find out what your fine is, and you need to bring your, not your fine, but your court costs. You are required to bring your court costs.
We need to draw something up. and get
Have
that
you ever
passed.
seen the
That's crazy.
Yeah, very much so.
contingency form? I mean, it's just like 8 lines. It's how much money you make. They put 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and nobody ever looks at it again, and they never pay another dime.
Is there a provision if they put 0 on there,
Yeah, they
they
sign
come
it.
back and check that? Because I know with school business, when they did that, on their applications for free and reduced lunches, we could only temporarily approve it for 30 days. They had to come back later. And
that's probably
then
the.
after 90 days, they went on full.
It's probably the defense coordinator, I guess. but
Well,
that's
when
not
we
really
got
your
the
role.
defense,
Yeah.
when we got that position, it was with the thought that they were gonna be able to have a program that they could go in and
Right.
they could actually check that and see.
Mhm.
And it would pay for itself.
But
Yeah.
that never, to
No.
my knowledge, that
Never
never
happened.
happened.
Yeah, everybody
Our
was indigent and
offices
you filled
did
out the
that
form.
before, but also indigent defense coordinators to appoint an attorney. You don't appoint attorneys in civil and family cases, and those are the ones that
That's true.
aren't paying anyway.
That's true.
So
That's
half, civil and family is a lot of
Yes,
what
sir.
we do.
Yeah.
And those would, unless somebody's looking at it, and again, it turned into make the clerk the bad guy, have them come tell them they can't afford it, and we'll have them testify that they can't, even though they don't know their personal finances other than what they filled out on the paper. But, and again, I think it's just gonna take a judge bringing it up in a hearing where it's on the record and saying, what do you make a month? How do you pay for your kid's formula if you make 0 income? Where do you get this? You're not receiving any state aid, then you can pay the $350. You hired an attorney, that's a $5,000 retainer minimum. How are you affording that if you can't afford $350? And that would be the only way that we would be able to collect money through court costs.
We just had a guy, week before last, he went on trial and he was found guilty. He had a hired attorney. He did an appeal with a court-appointed attorney because he couldn't afford an attorney. So they court-appointed him an attorney to do an appeal.
After his hired attorney.
After he had a hired attorney on his
Regular.
regular case. Joe
That's
Zagalot
that's
was his attorney.
ridiculous.
Anyway, I didn't mean to get us off.
No.
But that's bothered me from day one, and we've never, it's ridiculous to let that money walk out of this building.
Me and Sherry had this conversation 9 years ago. And then I started checking line barters struck off per property. And the schools in the county were the largest property owners in the county. And I started talking this property up around where I was from. They snatched it up. They didn't know it was, you could do that. I mean, it all disappeared around us. But that, getting this property out off of our payroll and then catching these people with the unpaid fines and court costs. But when HM said, I just tell them, don't worry about it. I was like, oh, tell them that, Jerry.
And when I first started,
Don't tell them that.
Yeah.
he would, you know, when somebody would come up to the bench, he would, you know, give his spiel. And, you know, he would say, if you want an attorney and you can't afford one, you can say you're gonna hire, or if you don't qualify, you know, he'd say, you own a boat, blah, 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 blah. You want to list every single thing you own. And then as time went on, it was, if you need an attorney and can't afford it,
Well, and I said it's
Go
two
to the
different
indigent.
things. I mean, the attorney, that's the same in your Miranda rights. If you can't afford one, you want one, you want, but the court costs, again, on especially civil offenses, that's a whole nother
Right.
wax, you know, you're choosing to do that, you need to pay it.
That's right.
And, I don't know,
Thank you.
when I started, we did the, indigent defense court appointments in our office and respectively in the county clerk's office. And then it went to coordinators, and then it went to a composition, and now I don't know what's going on, but when it's not under our nose, when we're putting in the fees and fines, all we can do is assess them. We can't collect them because we don't know what anyone else has done. And it's, taking it away from us. And again, you can argue it, but then at that point, you become a party to that case. You're moving. You now stand and explaining why you think they should, and quite honestly, you don't know. You're just there to ask questions, and I have no authority, in my opinion, to compel someone to answer a question. I think that would be better served to the judge's position.
Do you happen to know of any other counties who addressed this problem successfully?
Off the top of my head.
I mean, I know I'm putting you on the spot, but
I know, I'm sure there's counties that have.
Yeah.
I mean, and usually, again, they're set up different. I mean, even like Judge Lago Marcinos, he's technically the highest judge in the county, but he's also a magistrate.
right.
So he's also the lowest judge in the county because he sees them first. He does everything pre-indictment. Some counties have judges that are just for that. Some have assistant DAs when someone's arrested for a felony come down whenever they're arrested. I know we don't, but I know they're consulted, but I could maybe look at that.
Well,
Future, try to find it.
I'd look at it with you, just to be clear, because I don't want to reinvent the wheel either if there's a better way to do things.
Sure. No, that's typically, we pilfer from other counties on a daily basis.
Sure. Well, Commissioner Grant, thank you for that blind spot. I mean, we want to avoid.
I mean, we need all the money
Yeah,
we can get
yeah, absolutely.
and let it walk out the doors.
Right.
It's not never gonna
Trust me,
do
I
it.
wouldn't have to come back from y'all to pay the court costs. I'd have plenty.
This is the first time I heard them say it was tied to road and bridge. Now I'm really pissed.
That's just sometimes.
I'm out here begging for gravel and hollers and
Well, and that's another thing too. Sometimes they'll just do court costs when somebody really should get a fine too, you know?
By
It's very-
statute, they're supposed to have by the offense code.
Very
Most of-
minimal in there is what it's
Mandatory,
been for the past few years. I mean, we've just seen it decline. I mean, somebody come in there with a DWI second and they get a $500 fine.
Dang.
Really? Is that all?
Or, I mean, but if you kill a deer out of season, it's 10-year minimum, $10,000 fine, and you're going to prison. So I've seen people kill people and get out of prison quicker than killing a deer to get out of prison. So some of it is mandatory.
Wow.
Mandatory minimums is what it's called. It's
Right.
still off.
All right.
It's all tied to road and bridge.
Yeah, moving on. Road and bridge and pay your court costs.
I don't know that when Will was down here.
You're letting them get it.
He got his pants dirty.
Do we need to subpoena him for a minute?
Oh, can I use that? You're gonna get your pants dirty if I see you. Like that.
Just tell him, wear some old clothes when he comes.
This is just, I just kind of summarized y'all's high-end budget at the very top. There's a lot of moving parts in y'all's budgets, just so you know, Judge. They've kind of asked for the Christmas list on some of the things and the capital expenditures.
Except for commissioner's salary,
So,
I want what they're asking.
I know, I'm gonna get to that, Commissioner. Brewer.
Me
So
too.
this was, again, just, hey, let's get it all in there.
Yeah.
We can make tweaks, but, this is the commissioner change and, this was all 4 precincts, paying the people. We'll get into, I'll just get into commissioner salaries. This is what you guys suggested. Commissioner Brewer, you need to you know.
We need to be a little more generous
Be
towards
aggressive,
ourselves.
but
The numbers I wrote in there don't necessarily mean anything. I just wrote something to get it kind of easy. My
Yeah,
main concern is my
Yeah, mine-
material in my home.
so I think, go ahead. You know what I mean?
What I come up with, the reason I put so much, in Medina County, which is very similar in size,
Yes, sir.
what we have, their foreman makes 69,967. And our foreman makes 57,000, so that's why I got the $10,000 just
Across the board.
separation. Yes. That's everybody.
And you know what a commissioner makes in this county?
What did make it
$120,000 a year.
You
How
know what-
much?
Right off the bat,
You know what the road,
120.
you know what the road foreman in Henderson County makes, more than we do.
And I'm gonna, the salary packet I have sitting in front of me is gonna go over that. Just so when we get there, because this is obviously elected officials, it applies to you, it applies to Mike, it applies to, you know, everybody that. What I did on this thing sitting in front of me, we'll go after this, is I took the TAC report that has the salary survey, and I looked at the county, it separates them by county, so counties from 50,000 to 99,000 in population. I charted them in Texas. I showed how close they were to a metroplex. And then I said, okay, out of the average of all those in those counties that reported, how do that average compare to us? So we'll be able to look at the determination and do this. So I don't want to spend, I mean, we can talk about the slide, but that thing's going to give you all some richer data on where you want to see each of the elected officials to be, I think. So, but, you know, I want to go work for Commissioner Perry for sure. So,
Me too.
yeah. Jason, we'll start out with you. This is just kind of your ask overall. Similar format that we've done, gentlemen. Here's where you're asked. Here's where you kind of are through the year. If there's any big outliers, you know, for me, obviously the road material, Commissioner Grant, you know, that seems to be, we had a big increase here. Got my little pointer here. Thing's pretty cool. Just now finished it last day, but you had significant, I know we did a big budget reclass, but we're trying to get in front of that this year and move, money into the budget for FY27, that and hauling. I'll let you expand on any of that, but,
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous what we pay
Yeah.
for material and for hauling. It's more than double, both of them. Hauling maybe quadruple. But it's, you know, when I first came into office, we had a plant here. We used our own guys and our own trucks. And now it may come from Lake Whitney to Timothy, Texas, which is an all-day job, you know, it's an all-day drive, going there and coming back all day.
Well, Big Creek went to $20 a ton.
Yeah, it's, you know, gravel was $6 a ton, and now to get it here and on the road, it's over 30. And that road and bridge, tax rate is the same. It's now as it was then. It's ridiculous. And not to mention, back then, we could blade, you know, we'd blade roads in the rice area once every 2 months, and now I blade them every week. So gas naturally is gone. I mean, it tires everything. There's just way more. It's another deal about more people living here. The more people you got
traffic.
living out there, you know, the roads that used to have 4 or 5 cars a day on them got 200 cars a day on them now. Dust hanging in there 24/7.
Or 150
And,
Right.
18
and one
wheeler
thing
belly dumps coming
one thing
out.
I'll say that's, you know, I keep pointing out how different Navarro County is from other counties, because it is. I've yet to meet a commissioner from anywhere in the state of Texas that had anywhere close to the amount of roads. We have more roads in our precinct than any county I've even talked to in their whole county.
Yeah.
And like you talk about Ennis, they make way more money than us, but Ennis is almost completely incorporated.
Mhm.
They got like 50 miles of road. And we got 330. It's weird. Navarro County is an odd county. I'm just telling you.
you know, knowing that that's our Achilles heel, I guess, you know, mileage or road mileage. Is there, knowing that all these plants and wind farms and solar farms I know we make them buy a bond. Is there any fees that we can assess to them, road fee is there commissioners that are experiencing this in some other county that says, hey, if you're gonna drive up and down my road to put in this deal, there's a fee, you know, that you have to pay to start the project in order for us to grant the project. I know they gotta get a bond, but then
I've
getting
had
the
them-
bond and having them.
It's just a piece of paper.
I've had them come in, for instance, I've had them want to come into a place that was a dirt road,
Yes, sir.
and I would make them pay to gravel it. And they would, they'd come move the property owner fences, put in culverts, put the gravel down. The nicest road I have in my whole precinct was put in by Tarrant County.
Okay.
That happens. Other than that, the only time that we're actually able to make an improvement somewhere is if there's a FEMA event and we get some FEMA money.
Yeah.
Other than that, we're patching holes and
Yeah.
we're not improving nothing.
But we're not able to assess a
I don't think so.
fee onto the guys putting in a solar
I
farm.
haven't found any legality.
I don't think
to-
so.
I haven't found any other counties that have done that.
The only thing you can do is negotiate with them when they come in.
Exactly.
That's when the solar panel,
Yeah.
we made a deal with them, all their excess gravel that they had at their offices and things like that, their extra culverts, we got.
Right, okay.
I'm trying
Well, we
to-
were
I'm trying to
supposed to
do
get
that
those
with-
down in Dawson. That went over like a lead.
I just didn't know, because I know
They sold it all.
in Fort Bend County, they're putting a lot of master plan communities in. So there's cement trucks coming in every morning at 3:30 to pour cement for slabs. I mean, they're just tearing up the road. I mean, like you say, Commissioner, the last week and then the pothole comes back.
It's-
But I just didn't know what teeth we're able to have. I know you've been fighting for that at the state level, but
We're so far, Navarro County is so far from even sniffing a paved road that it's ridiculous. In our lifetimes, we will never see Navarro County be completely paved roads.
Mhm.
I still got roads that are dirt.
Yeah,
I do
me too.
I mean, it's just,
No, I
there's
know.
no way, and the money is not even close to make it. I mean, if I took my whole materials budget, I could pay about 1.5 to 2 miles of road
Yeah.
out of my 330.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well,
It's-
and then
it's-
once you pave them, maintenance on them.
Yes, sir.
They're good for about 2 years. Then all of a sudden, they start falling apart and we have belly dumps and motor graders and some
Yeah.
compactor, and that's it. We don't have an overlay machine and
I
an
know-
oil
I know
truck.
one
and-
time when I was,
But you can maintain it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it used to, it's, a gravel road is pretty easy to maintain. But with the influx of people that had come in, it doesn't last near as long. They beat it down quick. And it's just a constant 24/7,
Because everybody's hauling ass.
dust hanging in the air. My number one complaint
It's dust.
is my road's dust.
Most
And
of
it's
them
because
scared for
it's
it.
constant traffic,
I was-
constant.
I mean, I know, and I don't know, I mean, this kind of goes back to the overall county position to help look into the future, but I know at one point in time I saw in Colonial County, and this may have been a city or municipality, but if you put a sidewalk in, they came in and put the road in, right? They redid the road or expanded the road. It was a state, I know it was a state funded or Texas, I don't think it was a Texas highway deal, but it's kind of like, we're in that 10-year plan. Where's that
Right.
guy in our county that's seeking those little nuances,
Grant
especially
money.
going into legislative session, that's able to work with our state legislators and say, where's these little little nuggets hiding in these state bills to do that? Because I mean, and I can tell you, New Braunfels, we put a freaking sidewalk on a road that ain't nobody walking on, but they got a brand new road to do, paved road to go through it. So it's just one of those things. This was maybe a COVID thing or pre-COVID or post-COVID.
It takes a while to figure this job out, but I sat on several budgets and it was told from day one, the only money that y'all can touch is road and bridge money.
Right.
Well, a few years ago, we sat in here, adopting a budget in the red,
Yes, sir.
couldn't get nothing done. Just for the heck of it, I stepped outside and called Alan Bristol and said, hey, I've heard this the whole time I've been in office. Can we get money from anywhere? He said, yes, you can.
Yes, sir.
And we passed it on to Terry. I don't remember if it was out of the general fund, if it was a certain line item, but there was another place that we could get money, and we did.
Yes,
I
sir.
think we all got $250,000 out of it.
And the interlocal.
So wherever that was, I want some more of it.
Give me some more.
And that was started to be 500,000 each, but we had to cut it back because everybody was complaining about. the tax rate.
Those roads that are like, it is hard to sit there and tell the citizen that they're never gonna see a paved road in their lifetime.
My mom and
And,
she lives in
and
Lee
his
County.
guys are riding up and down them, 24/7, beating their cars to death. I don't blame the people at all. They're calling me about their COPD, just the stuff you would not believe, the stuff that we hear.
I did it.
And in the end, I'm not gonna say the success of your county depends on how good your roads are, but they're pretty crappy.
No, it does. I understand. I mean,
It's the welcome mat to the county.
It's,
Somebody's looking to move here.
they'll have people that, they'll go out here, these people will go out here and build these $400,000, $500,000 houses. And their little circle right there is nice and paved, but they drive through hell to get there. I wouldn't live on it for nothing.
No, I know.
Just a couple of questions that, maybe would factor into the money you're asking for, not just in your budget, Commissioner Grant, but everyone's is, as I understand it with the subdivision regulations as they're currently written, if someone's gonna come down here and subdivide, land in the county, they're supposed to have either asphalt roads or chip seal roads within that subdivision.
Supposed to build the county specs.
In the
It says asphalt or chip seal.
Right.
It does, absolutely.
When was that about? Recently or?
I think fairly recently, I can get a copy for you from planning and development. And in that regard, as far as the expense of maintaining, because eventually my understanding is those subdivision roads get turned over to the county
No.
for
They
maintenance.
have
They
to
don't?
petition.
State property.
It's been a while.
They
Okay.
have to build the road to county specs, which is extremely expensive. And that road has to be in operation for 2 years. Then they can come to Commissioner's
And
Court
request.
and say, hey,
Okay.
will y'all take this road over? Well, we're gonna
We have
say
the
no.
option.
Well, good.
We have the
That
option.
answers
I'm
that
not taking them over. We
question.
can't even take care
Well, I'm
of it.
glad that it can't be forced on.
Can't take care of what we
I'm
got.
not reading the kids.
But this is the deal. They know they have to build that road to county specs because nobody's gonna buy a house, $400,000, $500,000 house on a gravel road.
And that also ties into having the right kind of developer. That's a significant amount of money, as you just explained. So if that is upheld, again, with enforcement, then that's gonna make everything better as far as the growth.
Yes.
Second, when it comes to, our gravel roads, and I guess this is just more me as a taxpayer, and I'm sure you've heard it before, but is there a different medium we can use on the gravel roads to reduce the dust?
There's the one, it's called road glue, and it works pretty decent for a couple of weeks. It's not gonna work in the kind of conditions we have right now. It'll be gone in 2 days' time.
Yeah.
You put it down and it works pretty good, and it's not all that expensive, but it's in Georgia. And it costs more to ship it here
Polyguard makes it.
than what you can get.
Polyguard makes it?
I think I need to build a road glue plant.
Need to go on asphalt and gravel
It
plant.
works, but when it rub boards and you blade it, it's gone.
And granted, y'all deal with the day to day. I'm not gonna act like I know better than you when it comes to roads, so don't get me wrong. One thing that's been proposed to me is using a tar sand. And also acknowledging that not every county road is the same based on its location and kind of ground that's under it, but I mean.
And you have to find a place to get it.
Yeah,
And
it's
then-
too far
and then-
So
away.
sourcing is
And then
also,
if you put it down and it's 104 degrees outside, the trash truck comes down there through there and he leaves
Squashes
a rut
it out.
this deep for the next 4 miles. You gotta come fix that.
The
And,
closest one is
and,
College
and
Station.
depending on which gravel source you use, you may get gravel this big that'll jar your teeth when you're driving down it.
right,
Or you may get it so small that it's like driving through beach sand. Nothing's consistent, and it seems every year it gets worse.
It's worse and
When
worse.
we had a gravel plant right here in Navarro County, things were pretty smooth. But since they closed and we've had to go all over the place, even our
It goes
closest,
back to Blum.
you may have to go to Lake Whitney, you may have to go to Mahia. It's not consistent. And now all the data centers are buying it. And we're doing good if we can even get
They're
any at
kicking
all.
us out.
The
like I said-
the plant down at Love Bridge is all,
that's a good
We're
point.
getting the
That's a
leftovers
good point.
because the data center's getting it all.
And I live on that road and I've talked to the Hazy before, and 15, 16, 17 years ago, there was developmental agreements with those oil companies, and then it turned into solar farms and then the wind farms, where they would have to provide either gravel or maintenance on those roads because it's a low zone road and they were well overweight. So they were required to pay some money to help maintain it. And based on what I've heard, again, it's probably hearsay, but That was for specifically precinct 3, and they found out they were using it in other precincts, and they put the kibosh on it because that's not what the contract said.
Well, he called me last week. Yeah. Early this week or last week. And he said Thursday, we're gonna start rocking the road if it's okay with you. And I said, yeah, you pin the doors on 3 and get up to 20, 25 miles an hour. I said, it's self-spreading. And if it doesn't, call me and I'll have a blade out there. And he said, I'm also gonna bring a water truck. And so that's supposed to happen today
The water truck was there yesterday.
Yeah.
And
on Love Bridge.
it's another thing that's bad about touching Ellis County. All Ellis County roads are
You get
paved
them,
and chip seal.
Well-
And my roads join their roads. They come off of Chip Seal Road onto my join road.
I mean, I would really like to develop some kind of a 5 to 10 year plan on, yeah, we're not gonna pave every road. I get that. But is there not a way to identify with traffic studies, maybe in each precinct that says this is a high traffic road?
We know the high traffic.
We know.
I can tell you which
Well,
happens.
then if we don't need a traffic
But
study.
see, what you'll have is like I have a county road in Rice, for instance. It's a pretty decent road. But a guy went down here and bought a bunch of land and he put 200 houses on a private road. But all 200 of them, 2 cars each, so you got 400. They're all coming down my county road, even though they live on a private road. So that road just went from 40 cars a day to 400 cars a day.
Mhm.
And some of them 10 years ago were a little more than a cattle trail. And now I got school buses going down them.
Yeah.
And 2 cars can't even get beside each other because the fences are too close.
And Jason has one road that he's working with Cody, and so do I. The airport road.
Yep.
I've been working with him to get that converted into the 3243 extension from Navarro to 287. Because the town of Navarro, Crab Creek, and Chaney-Boro,
Right.
it's one way in, and they beat that 90-year-old slab to death, along with the asphalt that,
You don't want to go off the edge of that slab.
and he's working on it, he says. And so I said, okay.
We just have to figure out, for now anyway, the short term, we have to figure out what other money we can use besides just road and bridge money, because we don't get enough road and bridge money to take care of our roads.
A
Gotcha.
$1 million home, and that's us $200.
So that's the
a year.
bottleneck.
That's our
Okay.
hang up. And we can't raise the road and bridge tax anymore. It's already as high as it could be.
Okay. Well, I'll do whatever I can to find solutions with y'all on that.
If there's anywhere in Navarro County where we're behind the times,
That's
it's
it.
the roads.
And the crews. We don't have enough guys. We've got more equipment than we have guys.
And you hate to hire a guy for, whatever he's gonna be $70,000 in payroll, when you can buy $70,000 worth of gravel.
My biggest problem when I came in 4 years ago, my equipment, the newest thing I had was 2012 model. And I'm still running 2 1990s model pickups. So I've improved a lot, but that's where most of my money's gone for 4 years. So I'm behind the 8 ball on the materials now.
But I guess that's where I was going next, was about, equipment inventory for each of your precincts. I mean, I assume we have that and kind of anticipated lifespan, when do we need to replace that? And trying to have some kind of forecasting, so when that happens, other than of course emergencies, that we're gonna take that piece offline and we'll have money ready to buy that right away and not have to finance it.
Well, the equipment used to last a lot longer, but we're wearing it out a lot quicker
Yeah.
now.
Well, I know it's gonna
Well,
be
and the-
imperfect.
Rolling every day.
The problem, that was my first year, 4 years ago. That was my whole thing. I need to put these on that. Well, everything I had was old and
Yeah.
was going. I had 2 pickups seized up on them. We had our 2 dump trucks were 2001 models. I was pulling one belly dump that had a cracked frame. And that was not good. So putting mine on a schedule, I've had to replace so many of them at the same time. Putting them on a schedule was not a feasible thing to do at the time, if that makes sense.
For what you're needing right now, are you talking mostly salaries?
Yeah, I'm
No,
sorry.
well, I mean, no, it's everything.
else?
No, it's
Yeah.
everything. I mean, salaries was a part of it. I mean, I think Commissioner Grant, you're around you're changing salaries across your guys, average around eight or 9%.
I just had in my mind, and I'll just say it, it's the easy way to say it. I know we've got other individual people you are talking about looking at. I was thinking, after hearing some of the people that came in and said the differences in our county and other counties, I was just thinking about like 5,000 across the board.
Right.
That area. So that's why I put that down there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean nothing.
No, it means something because it's a number and we work to it. I think we've all seen that just because you say it doesn't mean we're all gonna grant it. But we
Right.
At least get something on paper so I can run it through. And again, it's plain to show you guys if you were to sign, if you were to say carte blanche, everything's fine, you mandated me, what's the number? So I got the number, other than the DA, I got the number. In the sheriff's department, he's a different giant, so. But yeah, I mean, Commissioner Grant, I think you just had, in your deal, you just had 200,000 of capital equipment. You say replacing some stuff. And so you didn't really have the detail, which is fine. That's why I floated in your capital outlay
Yeah, I had
and
some
equipment.
damage to my barn that's gotta be fixed. Some doors that are falling apart and a wall. That's what that is.
Commissioner Perry, here's kind of the same thing. I mean, you did your raises around like say 5% raise for your guys. And then I think you had a little bit of a bump in road materials.
Yes.
Obviously oil and gas came down a little bit on machinery equipment, up in blades. I mean, it's a
It's pretty.
overall 4.4% increase in the budget year over year. Other than the obvious of road material, which Commissioner Grant spoke to, just the access to that, or need for that, getting it here, the price of a rock. Commissioner Perry, you put a little bit more items on your deal of your thing. So you've got a roller, your belly dump truck, tractor.
In the belly dump truck, that's really what I really need prioritize. The rest of it, I mean, I could kind of work around. The roller would be really, really good for me. But the rest of it, I could kind of work around and go from there. But as for the moon and hope for a star,
You are a star, sir. So,
I wouldn't go that far.
This is just where Commissioner Perry is. He's got quite a bit of some unspent line items that's aggregated. Is it, do you haul yourself? Is that why you're all?
yes.
You
I've
haul
got
yourself,
Yes,
right?
I've got a plant just real close to me that works with me well.
So I mean, that's your big number where you're hauling. In essence, you had 120 in hauling. Last year, you only spent about 11 grand of it. And then road material, it seems like you haven't spent a lot of
I
it.
haven't, but I am now. Yeah,
Like just
Got a lot allocated.
just what I say, and I don't mean to be, I hope you spend it, but as we do something, are you gonna try to hit that number by the end of
I probably will.
September?
I probably will. Because I'm doing a lot of asphalt now.
Right, I say that because when we're trying to dial in for you guys later on and by next week, where we think that FY26 budget's gonna end, I'm trying to mandate Brad where to go and be, and so you're expecting to kind of blow through that
Yes.
road material, but anything else on here like contract road repairs,
No,
hauling, you should probably still stay.
I'll be fine on hauling. In fact, I may have to move some hauling to road material by the time it's all said and done.
Okay, all right. And I think before we leave this today, the last mandate I'd ask for you guys is our office typically sends out a letter to all the departments saying, we got to have your final PO here by this date. So we can shut September 30 down. Maybe we'll articulate those dates to you guys. Y'all tell us if you're comfortable with it, and then we'll get the letter out. Is that fair? Sheriff, I'd like your input on that as well too, when we go through that, just so we make sure we're all on the same page.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
That's on 31.
That's Maryville.
Yeah.
Commissioner Moore, this is your stuff. This is again, this slide is again, your ask of budget FY 27 versus FY 26. You're given a lot. I think the capital lease was, I think it's weird how that one works. So, but you're going up on machinery and equipment. We'll look at that in a sec. I'm trying to look at any other big outliers. Oil and gas, obviously. I think you kind of gave 5% across the board for your guys.
That's right.
And then,
That seemed to be the going trend.
yes, sir, that seemed to be it as well. Your capital spend was around 200,000, a little over 200,000.
And like a new truck and trailer.
Okay, that's what this,
New septic system for the Richland barn, because it's 70 years old and it's a 55-gallon barrel.
Well, you better start working on that right now. It
Yeah.
took me months.
Well, that's what I've already got it turned in. Design and all that stuff. But
Make sure
they
you
can't,
get
they
it
can't use
approved
the
so we don't
restroom
have
there.
to send Adam down there.
They can't use
You
the
know.
restroom down there. They gotta go to the store. That's how bad it is.
That's wrong.
That barn was built in 52.
for me. What about you, Commissioner, Moore? You've got a little bit left in your road material. Are you?
We're burning through it pretty quick, right? We went 5 loads of asphalt yesterday.
Okay, hauling as well, or were you,
I'm getting,
you're burning through it?
yeah.
I'm just looking at this just so when, again, reiterate
When
where
it,
we're
when it
trying-
was raining and stuff, there wasn't a whole lot going on.
Yeah,
and then-
what is raining?
And that's, right now, we're rolling pretty hot and heavy.
Okay.
But I tried to be as conservative as I could, because
All right,
like I said, on a $1 million home, we get $200 a year. I try to explain that to the people out the lake when they tell me they pay $15,000-$20,000 a year in taxes. And I said, yeah, well, I get $200 of it.
Commissioner Brewer, this is kind of your slides. I don't think anything crazy in here. You had a pretty big capital improvement.
Yeah, I've been trying for 4 years to get something done about my county barn, and every year, towards the end of the year, when I think I may have some money left over to do it, I can't. My county barn is so old, I can't get equipment in there to service it. We have to let air out of the tires of the motor graders when we get them in there to service. Belly dumps, Mack trucks, grade all. We have to lay the arm on the backhoe down to get the backhoes in. So we could use another one with some taller doors.
But $100,000 is gonna be able to build you a barn, I guess, or?
No,
very sharp.
not today, but I was hoping on one budget to maybe do the foundation, and then on the next year's budget to do the structure itself.
Will the
Trying to
tax office
spread
fit
that.
in your old barn? You don't mind driving through the go, do you? Mike?
Well, the only problem with that, when we get a heavy rain, the water goes through the barn, goes through the north door and comes out the south door. Yeah, it washes the floor.
It's a calming effect while you're cutting money to the county.
I wish some water would run through it soon.
Oh, me too, me too. Also on the Capitol, I've got one, haul truck, a belly dump and tractor that has spent more time off the road for repairs this year than it has on the road, and it's down right now. I have turned that in April, I turned that into turf. And I haven't heard whether it got turfed or not. If it gets turfed, I'll get $173,000 to replace it. So that'll help us a lot too. And I didn't see here on this, my hauling and road materials. Is that, I know we adjusted that, just one.
I'll look, I'll go back and look.
Yeah. But just as long as it's kind of where we ended up this year, you know, we adjusted some on that. Last Commissioners Court meeting took from some other line items to
Right.
supplement that. As long as it's that, what we supplemented is
You
two,
want to be,
I'll be good.
just make note of that.
Yeah, we'll be good with that.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, for this one,
Yeah, it's correct in here.
it's correct in the budget. that we-
On my spending, yeah.
Oh, on the
The
spending,
road material, it's still-
No, I just want to make sure I have it in the budget, the Excel file, so when we update on Brad's schedule,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. no,
oh, yeah, I see it now on
But
that,
that's-
spending through August 13th.
yeah, let's do that. I
As
just,
long as
I
those
want to
numbers.
make sure I have it on my other, the one that goes to Brad, because he's got the master one. That it just needs to reconcile back to what we did here. So I guess at the end of the day, you were kind of 250, you were kind of 250, you were kind of 250, you were on capital outlay, you were 575. Any direction of how you want me to plug that into this year's budget, just to see where we land? Do you want me to just kind of use the numbers asked for the moment? Wonder if these were placeholders, or how do y'all want us to do those?
Well, I got a bunch of money in the bank.
You looking for adopted son? Or-
No,
I say leave it as we got it plugged in and see where we're at.
Right, and like I say, on my capital items, I can come down. So this, we'll make do with what we've got, if we have to.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I'm totally gonna do that. I just,
Yeah,
I don't know if we need to make that, I just need that direction from
Well-
you.
I would suggest putting all the commissioners at the same salary and then what y'all are used to. Or
Yes.
then,
Okay, we'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to salary
Okay,
next. So
but
just
just-
more about the capital spend. Yes, but I'll do the commissioner.
yeah, I mean, let's see. Yeah, let's just see what it looks like with their requests.
And we
Yeah,
can
just
adjust
see-
next
see where
week
we are.
to where we need to go, knowing that this is the wish fund,
Right.
but then also some of it is necessary. I need to do this or I
It
won't.
sounds like we have more wiggle room with Commissioner Brewer's
Yeah, I've got some more.
part. And then
Cause I-
y'all-
like
the rest
I
of
say,
y'all are uniform at 250 essentially, right?
That was pretty close.
Well, I mean, that's bare, I mean, I gotta get the building part of it fixed, to keep the weather out of it. And then the 200 for equipment, try to do some of my own hauling to cut that dang hauling. I mean, I'm getting close to, I'm gonna be at $1 million in a couple of years and just hauling. If I don't do something.
So I was thinking about doing that too, and I talked that over with my foreman. And I was even thinking about just going ahead and investing in another haul truck and just put a driver on it, just going every day hauling gravel. But we can only get 2 loads a day. And with the hauler that I've got, I'm getting 6 loads a day because he has 3 trucks. They have to go there so early to get in line. If they wait until the time we go to work, first thing in the morning, they get there, they have to wait till 10 or 11 o'clock to get loaded because they're backed up. And then that puts them down to 1 load a day. So we'd be kind of shooting ourselves in the foot. We still have to use our haulers, and supplementing with 1 truck going was not going to help us that much. If I could get 3 trucks a day and put them to work at 2 o'clock in the morning, get there early, we get 6 loads a day.
Well, I mean, I guess my question with what's requested, I mean, the goal with the request is just to keep going with what we got, kind of a deal, status quo, or are we trying to make improvements? I mean,
I would love to make some improvements.
I'm replacing, I got 1 truck that's dead.
yeah, I mean, that's replacement, yeah.
Then the 5th wheel started falling off the other one. Then the trailer started falling apart, so it's at the shop at the Berry. It's been there for 2 weeks. I'm down to 1 truck. But. And the septic system, I mean, that's,
Yeah.
That's kind of a big deal.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got,
We'll get the deputy constable after you.
you ain't kidding.
It's a shame that we, just have to run from fire to fire and can't really make any improvements. And it's not just money,
Right.
it's time.
Time.
Even if we had the money, I don't know when we would have the time because you can't pull off the roads for a day or two.
Right.
It's overwhelming is what it is.
Mhm.
Well, when I took office and I was out at Dawson, it was 3, a little after 3, and the guys were walking to the trucks. I'm going, where are you going? They said, Mr. Moore, we're going home. I said, the sun's right there. Where you going home? You going home? I said, yeah. We get off at 3:30 in the morning. That's when the epiphany hit me and said, this is why we can't get nothing done. They get off in the middle of the day. If you work for Bud Moore, you'd know that you better bring a sack lunch and a flashlight. And we go home when the job's done. And that was my mentality. And I had to take 2 big steps back, go and work for the county going, no, that's not how it works here. And we got comp time, we got vacation time, personal days, sick days, and anything else you can think of. And I'm lucky to get 4 days a week out of each one of my guys. I'm going to be a guy off 1 day a week off my crew, just because.
Right. I guess my question is.
And so
it came
it's
up in-
impossible to get anything done.
Yes, sir. It came up this morning, a valid question about whether overtime is applicable or not. So we're running that down.
Okay.
I will tell you, the first quick blush over lunch hour while I try to prepare for the afternoon sessions, it looked like there could be a possibility of overtime pay. I'm only going to say that as, please do that as, don't quote me as gospel on it yet. But I guess my question is if there was a notion for overtime pay, does your guys work past 3:30? Would they want to?
Well, I'd give them comp time.
They're all
But
different.
comp
Some of
time,
them want comp time.
but comp time is like
Some
his
of them
problem is
want
comp time doesn't produce an output. Overtime produces an output, right? At least that's what my crews, I got guys that will not work past their scheduled time. And I
Is
got
y'all's
guys,
an option over?
Sure.
Y'all have an option?
No.
Overtime only.
so I'm running that to ground. I just don't know if that solves some of your work capacity issue. If instead of leaving at 3:30, they leave at 6:30 because they're going to finish the road or they're going to finish
Look at-
this. Or,
Most of them said, I got things to do when I get off.
Well, it doesn't do them no good. They can't get on the road at 5 o'clock. There's too much traffic. They ain't gonna do it, but sit there and let cars go by them.
Yeah.
And they can't get on the road
maybe,
at 8
maybe that was
o'clock.
a bad example.
They can't get on the road at 8 o'clock in the morning either.
School.
They can get on a road that doesn't have a bus route on it and not very many people, or they're just gonna be sitting on the side of the road letting cars go. It's too much traffic. So they have to get everything done between about 9 and 3, because the rest of the time there's so much traffic on the road. Not every road, but the high traveled roads. They'll go a little bit and then have to pull over, another car go by, go a little bit and pull over, another car go by.
The brush cutters, you gotta fold that thing up.
'Cause I had-
and pull a tractor over. and
We
let
had
them go.
toyed with the idea before of going to a 4-day work week.
I thought about that.
I discussed it with them and they said, well, that'd be fine and all, but we can't really, we're not gonna be able to get a whole lot more done because of
Yeah.
the school traffic in the morning, school traffic in the evening, and then people coming home at 5.
That's the same thing my guys.
Even though they would have liked to have worked 4 days a week, they weren't gonna really get any more done because of the traffic situation. That's the kind of stuff you don't think about till you get out there and get on one of them. And it takes you half a day to go a mile because you gotta pull over and let all the cars go by. Or school bus.
Okay. All right, well, we'll still run down the overtime.
Yeah.
All right.
Good deal. Thank you.
That's right. I'll blow through mine pretty quickly, and then the last one we'd have is just some indigent defense coordinator, which is nothing. Just so you guys know, I think I am the interim county auditor. I'm not on your W-2 payroll. I'm in essence an external
Contractor.
a contractor. That's just the way he said that he liked it. I don't know what his plans are in the future. in the sense of finding, I've expressed my interest of staying on full time, but it's his appointment of whether he wants to go with one way or the other. I've expressed even if he does hire somebody else, I'd love to stay on even in that role. I'd love to stay on as a special assistant to you guys to help some of the stuff that we talked about. But you'll see here, I just put a number where I thought an average county auditor made across that tax study, which is around that 120,000. I looked at counties again in this bandwidth. I'm not seeking for that. Obviously, it's an open position. I don't really pull from that number. I don't take health benefits. I don't take Social Security. I don't take retirement. My office overall, when I inherited my office, were 6 people plus the county auditor. Soon after I joined, two moved on. One moved into, I think, district clerk's position, and one left the county. I asked our team, should we replace them or should we absorb the work and show that, kind of put our foot forward and we give money back to the county in essence, but obviously absorb the work amongst our teams and really almost eliminate those 2 positions, hoping to prove to the commissioners and the judge about a merit increase based on the work that we were inheriting. Our office sometimes doesn't get the benefit of the doubt because in certain situations, we are the back office for other entities that are not anything county related. And I know at one time, and I want to hopefully move past this, that HIDA was the bad 4-letter word that was said in the courthouse. HIDA, I want to move past that because HIDA is a great actually money making for the county. Natalie and team run the HIDA operations. It's a federal, I think it's a federal deal. But we do an enormous amount of compliance for them. We ran their whole budget. Y'all approve all their bills.
Are we still,
Yes, sir.
we haven't had a thing come through commissioner's court in a
No,
long
it come-
time now that I think about
They
it.
haven't had any amendments.
They haven't even been, but we pay
Amendments?
bills, right? I mean,
The bills, yes.
yeah, y'all pay bills
Pay
all
bills.
every week.
But no amendments
Yeah.
lately.
So in doing that, I just say that is, I want to move, last year when I came here, HIDA was a really bad word and there was mistrust in the process why it became a bad word because y'all weren't known how the funds were spent, right? So in essence, the county receives 3% of the HIDA budget, right? 3.5%. So whatever we administer for them and help them achieve and file all their compliance with the federal government, which is quarterly compliance and monthly. But we do all that, but the county receives 3.5%, which is close to $185,000 that the county receives into the general fund. It doesn't offset auditors' costs. It doesn't do anything like that. So our team, and again, just like I was joking with Commissioner Brewer earlier, with the water district grant, we now become the back office to that project. That project, yes, it services the county residents, but doesn't do the county any good, county operations. So we do quite a bit of that. We service payroll for Marty's clinic. We do things again that way. So knowing sitting through all the salary discussions, I, just like anybody else, good team member, want to take care of my own people, understanding that we're going to adjust where we need to adjust. So it's a net positive for this 6 down to 4 people in my office, but I did give raises or propose a raise that's across the board for those relative folks. Let me get to that line. Here it is, and I'll go back to the other stuff. I'd like to get Natalie in a position where she is, even with where I think other court coordinators and because she runs that office. She is the point person for HIDA. They go to her for everything. Lisa Stephanie is a great young talent. She's taking over the grant stuff. I know we talked about earlier that the sheriff is engaged in a grant writer, which is great. I want to make sure it's different. We will seek grants in our office, but we also have to administer the grant. So right. I love that Jana is going to chase a grant. I love that the sheriff is investing in a grant writer. Yeah. But once they write the grant and we get them, we have to comply with it.
And we need that,
right? Because I can tell you, ARPA was all up our, what this year. and they would not have left us alone. ARPA's a great thing for the county, but it was a pain in the ass to make them happy.
And we're not through.
We're not through. So
The sad thing is the previous auditor did not do the right documentation, and so hopefully we can still find the right documentation and finalize everything by December.
So I say this, and again, these are proposed rates, and I know some of them maybe are outliers from what we've seen. I just also, when we will always chase grant, we want all the departments to chase grants, but we have to be in compliance with those grants, because if we're not, we have to give them back. And if we go get 5 more grants, that's 5 more grants, more work on top of what we're currently asked to do in our office. Eliminating these 2 positions, I still believe our team can handle it. Whether I'm your county auditor or the next person, I would believe that our team is well suited. We've got some experience in there. And so I'm proud to be with, what they're doing. They're working hard. So that's just kind of where we are on the salary. You'll see them in the big spreadsheet, so we can take y'all's input and go from there. But I would be remiss without saying that the team has really done a good job. When I inherited this team, there was a lot of animosity amongst the departments, and our team was, I don't know what the right word is, but it wasn't pretty. I asked our team to step up, get past this whole thing. I think they've done it well. I think they've reached out to the departments, created some liaisons. Are we perfect across every department? No, we're not. But it was a growing year for our team, and I thought they did a great job. And so for me, on a merit standpoint, I had to come in here and say they rose up to the level, because we're not going to replace those 2 positions. Some departments are like, we have an open position, we're going to go hire them. The workload will go back accordingly. We're not going to do that. We're going to keep those 2 positions off the books and hopefully give back the county $112,000 in those 2 areas. So
Can we put that in Road and Bridge?
yeah, you want it in yours? Yeah. It's the first one to speak. So again, we'll hit salaries overall when we get to the next part of the presentation. I just want to give some context and color a part of that. This is the firm software that we have been talking about for the last kind of 3 or 4 days. I've got the proposal. Edmunds GovTech is one that, so we saw 3 different softwares. We saw the Ferrari, which is people. So I keep saying it.
Edmonds.
No, who's the big one?
Oh, Workday.
Thank you, Workday. That's the Ferrari. That's the one you and your team sat through from you and I were right here, and they showed us this was going to be everything and all that stuff. Edmonds is a very good, they do a lot of counties. They speak our language. They understand what it is. What I like most about this one is that it cuts across different departments. And so you can see here, it's got auditors, HR, planning and development, treasurers, and then some tax and business licensing stuff. By far, this was the most reasonable, cost-effective one. Just to put you, Workday was asking for $800,000 just to implement it with a $200,000 a year subscription. You can see here, the annual cost of this one is about $55,000 to host all of the licensings and the modules, and then a one-time fee of about, a little over $60,000. They wanted $800,000 to implement Workday. And the other one was kind of in between these 2. I don't think we're cutting any corners with this one. I don't think we are saying, okay, well, we're just going to incrementally get better. We're going to go from, horse and buggy to Model T car. This is a great thing. We can bolt onto this. This software will move with us in the future. But just like you were saying, you've had a tractor or a barn from XYZ. We've had this software since the 90s. And it's crippling to the county. We cannot do anything. We can't integrate with any department. We can't give other departments access. I would love to give the sheriff, I'd love to give Clint their ability to look into their budget in a nice dashboard format. I would love to give their captains their ability to work inside of the system where they're doing things more efficiently. I would love to be able to sit down there and train, do all that stuff. You guys, your teams that way. We can't do any of that.
We need each department to be able to have a at a glance view of their money so
Yes.
they can manage their money, because that's the whole point.
Right.
It's their money.
Right. And
And
this
we're
does it.
not doing our own numbers here and there. That's it.
This does it. It gives some people are not gonna ever open it, even if I give them a license, and say, hey, log
They
in
should
here.
open it, but
They
can't
won't open
control
it. They're gonna call our office and our team's gonna be there and our team's gonna give them the reports they need to look at it. But this, in my mind.
I would offer that they direct them to at least look at it first.
Right. I would.
I mean,
Yes, sir.
We will. And can I talk about planning and zoning?
You can do whatever you like, yes, ma'am.
Planning and zoning are still writing, 3-ply receipts.
Yeah.
And,
With the garage sale.
yeah, but they'll be able now to even have the website part where people can go on and fill out their applications online. It'll send it to them. They'll be able to pay by credit card
Mhm.
and it's just, they're so excited because they're gonna be, I guess to the 90s, 2000s, whatever it is. And that's all
Pre-internet.
included in, yeah. And, it's called Edmonds GovTech. You might have heard of the GovTech part, I'm not sure, but, and they don't it's all them. They don't, what is it called? When
They
you
don't have like third parties.
yeah, third parties that put stuff in. It's them.
They're the backbone, they're the vertebrae
Yeah.
on this. And I think there was some discussion yesterday, and I appreciate Clint being here and the sheriff being here. Again, on the payroll stuff. So let me just explain payroll and HR functionality of this one. I would say that the early adoption of this thing is more of an HR system, allows the employees to be able to see their information, how much time they have. There is a payroll feature functionality of this. Where we're going to start is almost identical to where we are with Google Sheets. So it's just moving away from Google Sheets and putting it inside of our ERP system. And again, Clint, I know you were here for that meeting with, I just can't read it, Workday. But my understanding was the captains were not very big thrilled on getting down to time clocks, punching in for each of the individuals, but they were okay with them accumulating the hard copy timesheets and in essence doing what they're doing now is getting it into the Google Sheet format.
I think the way that it was presented, like I told that young man that was presenting that, I mean, it's the same that we heard from several other companies.
Right.
So there's nothing different about just the name. So there wasn't an agreement amongst everyone as far as the timekeeping.
But we didn't, yeah, I'm not talking about timekeeping. I'm talking about
Just the availability to go in as an employee and
yes, sir.
be able to see everything that you need to see, yes.
Right. When I say, just because sometimes the word timekeeping can be skewed.
Right.
I'm not saying there's a clock. I'm not saying there's anything. What I understood from the captains were, hey, if you can give me the feature functionality of putting the time in for my employees. Right now I do it in whatever, I turn it over in this system or Google Sheets or whatever. I'm not talking about in and outs. I'm just talking about the management of the employees system.
A manual input from the captain.
Yes, it's manually inputted in there, similar to what they do now. when they
It's
review.
pretty much the same thing we do now, it's just on a computer versus
Right.
hard copy, but we still get a hard copy
100%,
for them to sign.
100%.
And it's still the same thing, it's just there's more availability in a phone app form to be able to do.
Right. But it's also probably data convenience, so that, hard copy is great, but at least it's in the system. So if it ever needs to be regenerated for any other purpose, I would imagine.
And everything inside that system, we talk about, well, if they don't sign a hard copy, then I can't hold them responsible. Yes, you can, because there is licensing and things of that nature that they have to abide by in that state. By your being on this, you are accountable for all of your time.
Kind of like an electronic signature.
Right.
Now, I mean, I know that I just signed off on a couple of your incentive changes or some things today, right? So just so you know, Judge, if Clint has a change in incentive comp for one of his people, he literally fills out a piece of paper, yay big, and he writes it all over it and it, travels across the road, by a person and it lands in Julie's desk and then it comes to Lisa's desk and Lisa then sends it to my desk and then I sign it manually and it goes back to Lisa and then it goes back to Julie. Well, this system would, once Clint sends something, I'd get a notification and I'd be able to sign off it immediately and then it all goes to Julie to the change. So that right there, I mean, Will sent down a bunch of changes on his stuff. adult probation changes.
It'll be similar to what we're using now, like the
Also,
Soho.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. So again, Rome wasn't built in a day. I'm not asking to build Rome here in a day.
Right.
Hence why we got a price that's very reasonable. But I think this is a good first step into, let's start seeing how this thing would work as a county together. Honestly, from a risk standpoint, this is minimal for a software implementation cost. For a county of our size, of what we're asking it to do across 4 different departments, that this is a blink of an eye. I mean, I was shocked. I asked them 3 or 4 times, like, this is your final price? Because I had actually never seen something this economical, especially for what we're asking for it to do. So, Jane's been in it, Julie's been in it, we've been in it, zoning and planning's been in it. So this would be our recommendation to start. From a budgetary standpoint, I just threw it all on our budget for FY 27. I guess I could break up that 150 amongst different departments, but since we'll be kind of bird dogging it, and for simplicity's sake to track it, because I want to make sure we're, project managing it. There's going to be processes and controls and procedures going to be put in place, because again, you're putting in tech. I just had it all in our budget. I can do whatever y'all want to do. At the end of the day, it's math, and it all goes down to the bottom line. So we probably we went to the auditors conference back October. That's when we kicked off this study after you guys had asked us to do it. So we spent kind of October through now determining which one we wanted to go into. We saw probably 6 or 7 overall. We narrowed it down to 3, and we did a deep dive on 3.
Clint, did you have any other concerns regarding the software that maybe we're not aware of? Or?
I didn't see this software,
Okay.
so I can't answer questions as far as that goes on this one. I can with the ones that I did see. They're all pretty much the same. It's just change the name on the company and how much money they want to charge. So
Okay.
I would like to see that. But
We'd be glad if we can get you between now and next Wednesday.
I'm not the final say so for us. It's
Well,
not like
you sure?
So, whenever you have time, we
Yeah.
can sit down and look at it.
I just wanted to make sure,
Because
Clint, you and the sheriff were.
there's a lot of different variables, which I know Commissioner Grant knows from being in law enforcement, as to how we do our business and the things that we do does not necessarily fit with an 8 to 5, come in and, be in an office type situation.
Yeah, I would like to better obviously that's the case, but I'd like to better understand why that's a pain point, not to critique or anything. I just
Right.
want to understand. I assume it's because when you start your shift, you're not coming in to home base and checking in.
And there are ways to do so. It's just, there are also things that we don't require, I guess, such as your cell phone stuff. We're not paying cell phones for 145 people.
Right.
We just can't do that. So now,
I see.
this day
Yeah.
and time, 90% of employees would not have a problem getting on their cell phone and
Right.
looking at the time off, scheduling stuff, things of that nature. I can say
Yeah.
that, but there are
No, that's valid.
exceptions.
Yeah. I can see that. Well, I want to make sure it's clear through y'all.
Well, like I said, it'd be something I'd like to, if it's
Yeah, we can,
feasible.
Julie or Matt, can you reach out to the gentleman, maybe do a payroll demo? It's only really the payroll side, the HR payroll, not the time. We don't need to go down to timekeeping. Do you want to see?
You want me to set it to show like what the supervisor side of it
Yes.
would be?
Get the captains of the sheriff, make it available for them as well. Just,
What's the deadline?
well, I mean,
So
I guess at the end of the day, the budget is one thing, right? I mean,
Right.
we'd like to move forward with a software in
Yeah.
FY 27. We are recommending this one. If all of a sudden we saw this and sheriff said this is the most atrocious looking thing because it's maroon and white and it's got beautiful colors on it, we could throw it away, right? But I guess at the end of the day, we got to prove something, and then If we don't end up doing it, we don't.
We need new
Still have
software,
it in the budget, whether
Yes,
it's
sir.
this one or something
Okay.
else.
Yes, sir.
but we're not tied down to going with this.
We have
specific.
not signed a contract with this. This is
Okay.
just an estimate of what it would cost to implement a software of this nature into our budget based
Okay.
on our deal.
Well, then I would suggest proceeding with the understanding that we're not married to that
100%.
and make sure we give it the appropriate amount of time to
100%.
review.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I would not want to ask, I
Okay.
want all key stakeholders
Yeah.
to say yay, because the moment we start implementing, I want all key stakeholders involved in the processes and procedures, make sure we set it up correctly, how you like. When we get into the nitty gritty, the last thing I want somebody to say is, well, I hated this thing, so I'm out. That struggles the whole thing. So
I do want something new because it is important to me that each department has access to
100%.
real-time numbers and we're not guessing.
yes,
And
sir.
has, that more control is going to help you better manage.
Yes, sir. Yep. But nowhere, we're coming out and
Yeah.
adopting their contract. I was just using this
Sure.
as an illustration in the budget purpose. So. Good deal.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead. I don't know. Can you see their availability?
Because I'm gonna be doing cooking all next week, so,
Okay.
I can contact them, but I guess I'll work with you.
Yeah, work with our,
To
I
see.
guess they are, they're the ones that.
Yeah,
So we
Just
don't want to just do something over in your office.
Yes, that's fine, however.
Like a
That's
Zoom
the-
call or-
and if you wouldn't mind looping me in just so I could,
Sure.
if I don't have availability, I'd like to stop in.
We've got the conference room, on the big screen.
perfect. He's really good. He's very detailed. He go right through and everything. All right. So I guess we want to kind of talk salaries overall.
Yeah, they were bringing me, Charlie, I did reach out to Greg for this salary.
Oh. Yeah, we can talk. Do you want to take a,
Yeah, let's take a 5-minute
5-minute
recess. Or
Thank you.
do y'all want 10 minutes, 5 minutes? 5, all right, we'll do 5-minute recess.